Hey guys, welcome to another video of For My Physics, and today I will be reviewing some more books. So the first book on my list is an Introduction to Manifolds by Tu. This is a manifold theory book. It's a really great book for a beginner on manifolds, and I highly recommend it to anyone that wants to learn manifolds, especially physicists that want to learn manifolds. Now, I chose this book because most books on manifolds are aimed for like super high level mathematicians, right? And the way that they're written is in their like really boring math language jargon, right? Because most math books on topology and manifolds, they like the structure, the pedagogy is like really bad. They have like a definition one, theorem, proof, definition, theorem, proof, and the whole thing is just definition, theorem, and proof. But this manifold book by Tu, he actually writes the book in a more conversational tone. You can still find elements of definition, theorem, proof, but it's in a much more relaxed, laid-back way, like you would find in a physics book, right? So this is a really great book for physics students that like have a background in like physics, like textbooks and stuff, and want a math book that's written in a very similar way. So that's a really great book for manifolds. So the book is, it has about 400 pages. It covers a bunch of things in manifold theory. The book covers smooth functions on Euclidean space. It covers tangent vectors. It covers Riemannian manifolds. It has a short chapter on category theories and functors, which was a really great one as well. Just because the category theoretic, this description of manifolds is a really powerful one. It even has a chapter on cohomology, de Rham cohomology, in the near the end of the book, which is really good for someone that wants to go higher in topology, right? It has a book on a chapter on Lie groups and Lie algebras. That's really great for a physics student that wants to get into quantum field theory, since quantum field theory uses a bunch of Lie groups and Lie algebras, especially in rep theory in quantum mechanics, in quantum field theory. So this book is a really great book for the physics student that like wants to sort of apply some manifolds and topology to their actual work in physics. Now, if you want to learn physics, if you want to get like a PhD in physics, you don't need to read this book, right? You don't have to know all the things in this book to get a good understanding of physics, right? This book is just for someone that wants to have an even deeper math understanding to apply in physics, right? It's my opinion that we don't need to fully understand manifolds for physics work, right? You hear a lot of people saying that like, oh, if you want to like learn general relativity, you need to know about manifolds really well. That's not true. Like, I don't think Einstein even knew that much about manifolds. He got help from his friend. He wasn't a pro at like topology or anything. So you don't need to know like all these things about manifolds to understand GR, right? You like only need to know the most basic stuff. And this book goes much beyond the basic stuff, but it's still fun to read this book. Just get a better understanding of it. So like, just don't let any like topologist fool you into like studying manifolds for physics. I'll get in like great detail when you don't have to. But that's the first book. The second book is the book Relativity, the Special and General Theory by Albert Einstein. Yes, the Einstein. This book was written by Einstein himself in like a very long time ago, right? You can see the book over here. Now this book is like the only book out of this pile that I have here that I would not recommend, and I won't recommend this book because this book is it's a very layman book, right? Like, yes, it was written by Einstein, right? But if you want to understand relativity in great detail, this is not the book for you. Like, it's like just surface level relativity. It has some equations inside, but like, it's very like surface level knowledge of relativity. Like, it doesn't contain like tensors or like it just contain like the Lorentz transform like in great detail. doesn't contain it doesn't contain like Rindler coordinates. It doesn't contain like those really deep things in relativity. So like I have to be honest, I haven't read this book fully, right? And I got this book a very long time ago. I think I was like 12 when I got this book, because around the time when I was learning the Maxwell equations, right? So it was a really long time ago. So I didn't finish this book. I don't so like my review on this book is like kind of biased because I didn't finish it. Like it was like a really long time ago. Like I just found this book in my closet right now, but from what I remember of it, like it's not a very in-depth kind of book, right? It's good for a 12-year-old, right, that wants to learn more about relativity, but the book is not really great for like a physics student that wants to like get a good grasp of relativity. If you want to get a good relativity book, one that I would kind of recommend is the one by Wald and the one by Mr. and Thorne. Those are like pretty standard texts on relativity, but this book I would not recommend. Like, don't waste your $20 on this book. So the next book I have here is an introduction to atmospheric physics by Andrews. This is a very great book. I highly recommend this book. And the story is kind of pretty silly of how I got this book. Like, you know how all like teenagers like go through some phase in their life, right? Well, my phase was atmospheric physics. When I turned 15, I don't know. No, when I turned 16, for some reason I just wanted to learn atmospheric physics. Like I wanted to be able to like predict the weather. Like I wanted to like forecast the weather myself, right? I just had some like weird like crave for atmos physics. So I got this book, and it's a really great book, but it was a phase, right? So I went through that phase, and so the phase was faster than the entire book. So I didn't read the whole book yet, but I read quite a bit of the book. And from what I've read, it's a very great book on atmospheric physics. I wanted to finish it over the summer, over last summer, but I didn't. But it's a really great book for physics and for atmospheric physics in general, right? It covers the greenhouse effect, right? There's a video I posted on the greenhouse effect a while back. I used this book for that video. So it covers that in like mathematical detail. It covers Beer's law. It covers gravity waves, not gravitational waves, gravity waves, which are different. It covers Rossby waves. It covers climate change. It covers the Navier-Stokes equations, fluid flow, which is very important for the atmosphere. It covers atmospheric chemistry, and it has a bunch of books like that talk about each of those topics in much more detail, right? So this book is very great for the advanced undergraduate and like the first year, second year graduate student that wants to learn much more about atmospheric physics. It's a really great book, and I would highly recommend this one. But yeah, like I read like half of this book during my phase in atmospheric physics. But yeah, really great book. Now the last book that I will be reviewing is Elementary Particle Physics by Larkowski. This is the best book that I have in my pile. Like this is the best physics book I've ever gotten, and it's just a really great particle physics book. It's an intuitive introduction. I would disagree with the intuitive part, but it is certainly an introduction to particle physics, right? This is like the golden book for particle physics. Like it is just so great. Like it covers QED, QCD, the weak theory. It covers the Higgs mechanism. It even covers dark matter. It covers string theory. Just kidding, it doesn't cover string theory, but it covers all those other great things. It's a really great book on particle physics. Now, the book starts out by talking about like the history, the wide big picture of particle physics, and then it builds it from the ground up. It starts off with scattering amplitudes, like how you'd calculate that, and then it starts going into QED processes. It uses the electron muon scattering as a reference, as an illusion for the entire book kind of. It uses that as an invitation to QCD. Once we start describing electron quark scattering, from there we go into quantum chromodynamics. We talk about jets in this book. But yeah, it's a very great book on particle physics. One criticism that I do have is that the discussion on QCD is kind of like, doesn't talk about lattice QCD that much. It's just a very like, it's a perturbative description of QCD. So it doesn't talk in detail about lattice QCD and chiral perturbation theory. It just talks about QCD through like the same methods in QED. But it does spend a lot of the book on QCD because the author, Larkowski, does research on lattice QCD, I believe. But like other than that, like the problems are great. It's a very nice book to read on particle physics. So I do recommend reading that book for particle physics. And with that, that concludes this book review. If you guys like this kind of thing, well then you guys can suggest more book reviews in the comments section. I've read a bunch of books over the years, so if you guys have one book in mind to review, I can review that book. And yeah, the PDFs of most of these books exist online, so if you guys need help finding those, I can just shoot me an email and I can get you the PDFs for these books online. It's illegal PDFs, but like it's not too bad. But yeah, that's particle physics, and thanks for watching. Bye.